Thank you, Manisha. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can hear me, and I just want to begin by also extending my special gratitude and greetings to Ravi Menon. I just followed the session on the podium, and I think like many in the hall and well beyond, I am a great admirer of what he has represented as a professional, but particularly with the Monetary Authority of Singapore also. So I just thought I would begin with these words. But let me also say it is a privilege to join the Singapore FinTech Festival and explore how technology, especially FinTech, can play a role in helping to recast our global financial system to be fairer, more inclusive, and more sustainable. And some of you may wonder, because I head the United Nations Development Program, is this really something that we have been concerned about or have thought about? And I hope that in the next few minutes, I can persuade you that, in fact, when you think about the future of development today, then certainly FinTech is going to be a central variable in what happens next to development and our financial system. As our dominant economic and financial system, and I'll put it very bluntly, fails us on many levels today, fueling climate change, driving the destruction of our natural world, investing in very often yesterday's economy, we are in urgent need of a system upgrade. That includes the fact that we must look beyond GDP or monetary expenditure as metrics of progress, particularly when large amounts of expenditure are based on debt. Indeed, recent analysis by UNDP shows how the immense burden of debt is today limiting the ability of so many countries and governments to already extend vital services like education or social protection to communities, as a cost of living crisis still holds a vice-like grip over millions of people. Remarkably, the average low-income country today spends 1.4 times more on debt interest payments than on healthcare. A lack of access to affordable finance is also hampering a range of critical investments, from climate action to clean energy. And it's not just a question of more finance, rather, it is a question of how we better use the finance available. It is clear that the global financial system needs change, a critical part of which involves better leveraging the immense power of digital technology to drive sustainable development, ultimately bringing positive benefits to the daily lives of some of the world's poorest and marginalized communities. We estimate that 70% of the Sustainable Development Goal targets can directly benefit from digital tech. At UNDP, we are witnessing how digital technology may be the single greatest factor reshaping the development landscape today, and many countries need more support. We are currently engaging over 120 countries on their digital development. That includes support on national level digital transformation to over 40 countries based on 3 foundational building blocks. The first, digital ID systems are needed that can reliably verify people's identities and ensure authenticity in any transactions. To many of you in the hall, this is not news, but to achieve that across 193 countries and jurisdictions is a key challenge of our time. Second, we are supporting digital payments that enable trusted, convenient, and low-cost financial transactions to drive financial inclusion. Perhaps already a routine to many of you in the hall, not even a remote possibility to billions of people on the planet today. Finally, we are assisting interoperable data exchanges that allow governments, businesses, and individuals to exchange information with their consent and in a secure manner. Together, these building blocks form a country's vital digital public infrastructure, or DPI. And DPI today does in many ways represent the roads and bridges of our new digital era, allowing countries to transport vital digital solutions to communities, everything from finance and payments to e-health and online education. Countries that could make future-focused investments in DPI were more resilient in the face of crisis. We have already learned that, including being able to extend life-changing digital social protection payments to communities during the COVID-19 pandemic, and often in jurisdictions that did this for the first time and not simply expand already existing systems. However, realizing the potential of technology, especially FinTech, to help ensure that our global financial system is fairer, more inclusive, and more sustainable is, as many of you would guess, easier said than done. In this context, let me highlight 3 directions of change that we view as critical for countries to pursue. First, as previously outlined, digital public infrastructure is critical to establish as the digital bedrock for FinTech to take root and flourish globally. With our partners, UNDP is expanding DPI in 100 countries around the world today, with the target of reaching that by 2030 to ensure that that foundation is in place. As we do this, we are also helping them to advance a strategic view of emerging technologies as the pace of change is accelerating, a pulse that I know in that hall in Singapore you can all feel. We have extensively researched the area of global FinTech platforms, including central bank digital currencies and their impacts on sustainable development. This is critical to help countries plan effectively and mold their FinTech ecosystems to deliver the greatest positive impact. Beyond technology itself, we are conscious of the need to support countries in engaging partners to realize the potential that technology offers and mitigate the risks. For example, through a global dialogue on the governance of big FinTechs, we are aiming to ensure that these large companies play a much more active role in channeling resources towards the Sustainable Development Goals and that they operate in countries that are ready to engage with them. As a result of this work, we have realized a range of tangible results already, including the mobilization of over 100 million via digital banking, e-commerce, micro-savings, positively impacting entrepreneurs across the globe, and in the process creating 30,000 jobs. This is potential realized. The second direction of change that we support is driving innovation in FinTech to help small businesses unlock and make positive impact. Many micro, small, medium-sized enterprises today globally face major structural gaps in accessing affordable finance to build their businesses. This is particularly concerning given that these micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises, and would you believe it, account for 90% of businesses and up to 70% of employment worldwide. This may be small and micro, but it's massive in terms of jobs, livelihoods, and incomes. So, for instance, collateral-based lending has restricted financing for many of these micro, small, medium-scale enterprises in the ASEAN region, with lingering issues such as financial illiteracy reinforcing existing financial exclusion. Unless these issues are tackled more systematically and together, and at the global level as well, we may fall short of leveraging the data and digital opportunities that can benefit these enterprises. Therefore, in the past year, UNDP has collaborated with the Monetary Authority of Singapore to improve micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises' access to finance through FinTech. And again, Ravi, thank you for your visionary and pioneering leadership in this field. Our joint initiative, working with a range of partners, including leading central banks, financial institutions, multilateral agencies, and other stakeholders, aims to build a global consensus around a data-driven, digitally enabled characterization of SMME credit worthiness in the form of an individual data profile called a Universal Trusted Credential, or UTC. The UTC data broadly covers information on what the entity is, its business activities and characteristics, its trade and non-trade behavior, understanding of the entity, including its financial actions and history. The overarching objective here is to enable financial institutions to provide faster, better, cheaper domestic and cross-border financing and financial services while empowering micro, small, medium-scale enterprises to access these services through the ownership of their own UTC credentials. Just this week, the UTC team launched a white paper on this key area, and I encourage you to stop by the UNDP booth in the hall to learn more about this important work. UNDP is now on the ground in Cambodia and Indonesia to design and pilot test the UTC with financial institutions, government agencies, and private sector partners. Finally, we must ensure that FinTech itself ensures that sustainability and the Sustainable Development Goals are not just an add-on to business, but rather become an intrinsic part of how all business is done in the future. This is the aim of Project Savannah, on which UNDP is collaborating with the Monetary Authority of Singapore and the Global Legal Entity Identifier Foundation. It aims to develop digital, environmental, social, and governance, or ESG as we often refer to it, credentials for micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises worldwide in order to simplify their ESG reporting processes. This is crucial, given that the current complex reporting landscape and multiple standards which often disproportionately disadvantage MSMEs due to their size and capacity. Moreover, data for non-listed companies and MSMEs is scarce, and as many of you know, reporting processes are manual, time-consuming, and often frustrating. In particular, the project aims to establish a common framework of ESG metrics that will allow these enterprises to generate their basic sustainability credentials and commence their journey towards meeting the SDGs. By leveraging digital data to generate ESG data credentials that can be housed in a legal entity identifier record, these enterprises will thus be able to engender trust in larger businesses that they supply to, or in financial institutions whose services they require and from whose front doors they have essentially been locked out to this day. In short, Savannah aims to fundamentally change the approach to ESG reporting and leverage tech ecosystems to make reporting easy, quick, and data verifiable. The project, dear colleagues, holds immense potential. Such digitized systems could be adopted by countries to encourage a greater number of their local micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises to align with global ESG standards without the usual administrative burdens that often are almost like a prohibitive barrier to entry, and enhancing thereby their credibility in international markets. Furthermore, the introduction of a standardized framework for ESG metrics ensures a level playing field for these enterprises, regardless of their location or size. So, development-focused nations can emulate this approach to craft a unified set of metrics, allowing local enterprises to benchmark against global best practices, facilitating their ability in turn to attract international investments and partnerships. In the context of the numbers I gave you earlier on, I think you are beginning to sense what an extraordinary and transformative potential these kinds of innovations would represent. We will launch this white paper that communicates our thinking on an initial set of common ESG metrics. We hope that it galvanizes financial institutions, tech, and industry partners to pursue implementation of Savannah in their respective localities. This ambitious journey must start with capacity building for these enterprises. And this is our core business. To this end, UNDP, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the International Finance Corporation, and other partners launched the SME Financial Empowerment Program last year. Some 7,500 micro and small medium-scale enterprises from already 61 countries have gained vital new skills to navigate complex financial landscapes. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, FinTech can and is already beginning to play a vital role in helping to reimagine our global financial architecture to be fairer, more inclusive, and more sustainable. And this requires greater collaboration between governments, the private sector, financial institutions, FinTech experts, many of the people who today are sitting in this hall together in Singapore. We invite you, new partners, to push new digital frontiers and join us in groundbreaking ventures like the Universal Trusted Credential and Project Savannah, which hold immense potential to drive progress across the SDGs. Friends, together we can code a greener, a more inclusive, and a more sustainable future for all. Thank you so much for the invitation to join you today, and I hope you have a fascinating Congress together. Thank you and greetings from New York.